call the Montgomery County Legislature regular meeting for November 26, 2019 to order. It's Tuesday, 7 p.m. Roll call.
Chairman Headwell.
Present.
Legislator Kelly. Present. I don't have a computer, so I'm just going around. Legislator Sweet.
Present.
Legislator Diamond. Legislator Wilson.
Present.
Legislator Peck.
Present.
Okay. Legislator Duchessi.
Present.
Legislator Pertel.
Here.
Legislator Isabel. Okay. It's my profile.
Madam Clerk, tonight's moment of silence.
Tonight's moment of silence is for James DeBerry, who was 100 years old, resident of Amsterdam. He served in World War II, and at the time of his service, he was the recipient of the American Defense Medal, the Asiatic Pacific Service Medal, and the Good Conduct Medal.
Okay, we'll stand for the salute and then have a moment of silence. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, on the agenda, we have set aside an area for people from the public to make comments. If there's anyone from the public that would like to speak, please come forward. For the record, you state your name. Seeing none, we will move on to proclamations. The first proclamation that we're going to do tonight, Matt, will be the Office of the Aging Senior Transport Program.
Okay, so before I get into the proclamation, I just wanted to add a couple remarks. A couple years ago, I did what I always do, and we meet to talk about the Office for the Aging, how the previous year was, what are the goals for the future. And there was an idea put out there to do a volunteer transportation program. And it required some additional funding above and beyond what the Office for the Aging currently received. We decided to try to move forward with it. We spoke with the legislature supported it. They had a good year, and actually this past year they came back and we talked about it and said, actually it's gone so well, we could actually use a few more bucks to make this one particular position full-time. And even in a tough budget year, this legislature came through and supported the Office for the Aging. And so tonight's a nice opportunity to talk about the impact it has had on the county seniors, but also the folks that are volunteering. So with that said, I'm going to get right into the proclamation. And I can't say enough how much I appreciate the legislature helping out on this important program. Whereas the County of Montgomery is very proud to recognize and honor cooperative programs and volunteers which provide critical services to the community and its residents. Whereas the Office for the Aging Senior Transport Program began in April 2019 after OFA Director David Jordan and Montgomery County officials discussed the constant requests from seniors needing help getting to medical appointments due to lack of public transportation options available for them. Whereas the Montgomery County Legislature allocated an additional $50,000 to OFA in the 2019 budget, with a portion of that being used as seed money for the Senior Transport Program, which since its inception, on average, provides 6 to 8 rides to medical appointments per week, assists 16 seniors with weekly grocery shopping, serving more than 25 clients per month, and to date, 80 total individuals have enrolled in the OFA Senior Transport Program. 54 individuals have used the program as of the end of October. 362 round-trip rides were provided for medical appointments alone. Whereas the program currently has 11 volunteers who make this service possible. But one volunteer in particular, John, is extremely dedicated to the cause and takes the commitment very seriously, driving seniors 5 days per week, providing 168 rides to 27 individuals as of October 31st, making him an important part of our program's initial success. Whereas, to help fund the program, OFA suggests a contribution of $3 per ride, and since the beginning, they have sent out monthly statements requesting a total of $2,160 and currently have received approximately 10% of those funds back, which is in the line with donations from other programs and services they offer. Whereas, thanks to the collaboration between the county, OFA, and its volunteers, results from a recent client satisfaction survey have proven that the clients are very pleased with the OFA Senior Transport Program, and it has provided a great deal of relief to families who benefit from the service. Now there be resolved that I, County Executive Matthew Ossenfort, and Legislative Chairman Robert Hedwell Jr., on behalf of the Montgomery County Legislature, hereby proclaim Tuesday, November 26, 2019, as an official date in Montgomery County to most gratefully recognize, show appreciation, and wholeheartedly thank the Montgomery County Office for the Aging Senior Transport Program and its volunteers, especially this gentleman right here, for their partnership and dedicated service assisting the elderly population, improving the quality of life for those who live in the community. Thank you very much. And I'd like to add that when we did this, the focus was on the seniors who are having trouble with rides. But one of the unexpected consequences was I never realized, and I don't think we ever realized, how much those that volunteered would get out of this program as well. And it warms my heart to have John here, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I saw how good of a public speaker you were at the Office for the Aging breakfast. So I was hoping that at this point you could share just a little bit about your experience so we can get a better idea of why it matters to you and what your experience has been.
Thank you. All right, well, the first thing I'd like to say is that there are 10 other drivers, and I consider that the honor that is being bestowed here is equally their honor as well as mine. So that out of the way. One of the things which I have to say is that I very much enjoy doing what I'm doing. And it's a result of about last spring, I realized that my marriage had recently ended, and I had, aside from a few friends and family, I wasn't seeing a lot of people, so I needed to get out and move around and be more sociable. And then this opportunity came along, and it's been really a godsend to me. I don't use that word very often. And I find that other people my age are very interesting to sit and talk to as we're driving to Albany or to Saratoga or wherever. And I've gotten a lot out of my my interaction with them. And sadly, one of the things that I have gotten is an understanding of how grateful I should be for my own health as I drive people to kidney dialysis, cancer radiation therapy, any number of things that may be in my future, but I haven't gotten there yet. And interestingly enough, I've discovered that some of these people, I'm their only contact as well. And so, as you say, this has been a lot of hidden benefits have come out of this program, not least to those of us who are driving. And I just want to thank Tammy for being an outstanding administrator of the program. That's all.
So John, thank you very much. And we're going to take a quick picture. Good. And the last thing I would add is that just recently, we had a meeting with the Office for the Aging and Brenda, who runs our Veterans Office. And we're actually looking at potentially replicating the program for our veterans who are having trouble getting to appointments. And we do have the run that we do to the VA, but we found, especially in the western part of the county, there's folks that are slipping through the cracks, and the service is desperately needed. So that is another unintended consequence.
Yes.
And we've realized the success of it, and we're going to look to try to replicate that as we go into the future. So thanks again, and congratulations.
And as a veteran, I can only say, amen to that. Thank you.
Next up, we have Bob Bertino with Town of Amsterdam Justice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, I was talking to the sheriff about a month ago, and he says, you know, Herbie, not Herbert, is retired. Everybody knows you as Herbie.
Yep.
And he says, you really should do something nice for him. And I said, you know, that's a great idea, and I thanked Jeff. And just thinking about that Jeff took the time to do that, there's so many people that we know, you and I, or anybody in this room, that has so much respect for you. Not because you're a judge, but because you're a human being, and you're a fine human being. I've seen you in court, not that I've ever had a speeding ticket, but I've seen the way that you've treated everybody fairly that comes before your bench. And it's amazing. It's amazing that after 28 years you can continue to do that. I'm sure that you've seen some good things out of it, and you've seen some bad things. But through it all, you were able to treat everybody as a human being. And I respect that. Thank you. And I want to thank you for that. So, everybody knows I'm not big on reading proclamations, so I'm just going to read the last paragraph. Be it resolved, County Executive Matthew L. Ossenfort, Legislative Chairman Robert Hedwell Jr. and Legislator Robert A. Pertell, on behalf of the Montgomery County Legislature, hereby proclaim Tuesday, November 26, 2019, as an official date in Montgomery County. To most gratefully recognize, show appreciation, and wholeheartedly thank Herbert Lange for his dedicated years of service to Montgomery County and their residents. So, again, I want to thank you. And on behalf of the county legislature, I'd like to present you with this plaque for your service. And I hope you'll continue to be part of our community and doing things with us. Thank you. Very much. Can we get Herb's family up here too? Beautiful wife that's put up with him for all these years.
Oh, yeah, sure.
If they don't fit in, they don't fit in. Cut it off to the left. You notice I stood on the shorter side. Thanks again.
Thank you very much.
And now we have the Caregiver of the Year being accepted by Steve. Roy? Thank you for coming twice.
Oh, yeah. My caregiver didn't come once.
It's been my privilege the last few years to give this proclamation. It's the Office of the Aging Caregiver of the Year, and it's a proclamation about a person who gives of oneself to help another, which I feel is a very honorable thing. This year we're honoring Ashley Lappy. Ashley's not here this evening, but we do have Steve, last name Prohaska, with us from the Office of Aging. He's here with us every year, and I'll just read the proclamation and we'll go from there. Whereas each year millions of dedicated Americans with caring hearts take up the selfless and unheralded work of delivering care to seniors or people, family members or otherwise, with disabilities or illness, and the role they play in our healthcare system is one we should recognize and celebrate. And whereas Ashley Lappy grew up in Fort Plain and currently lives a few blocks away from her grandmother Lydia, and although she has a busy life as a single mom, raising 3 young children and working full-time, she is her grandmother's caretaker. Whereas Ashley has been employed in the Price Chopper Deli, at Lee Publication and production and accounting, but still she manages to assist Lydia whenever needed. Whereas Ashley was raised by Lydia since she was 8 months old and considers her more than a grandmother, and is now able to reciprocate the care she provided by helping with tasks such as shopping, laundry, meal preparation, and managing her finances. And whereas the Montgomery County Office of Aging assists Ashley through the Caregiver Respite Program by having a home health aide visit Lydia's house twice per week to perform general housekeeping chores, and this assistance allows Ashley to spend more quality time with her grandmother and provides the kind of support only a few family members can give. Now therefore be it resolved, County Executive Matthew L. Ossenfort, Legislative Chairman Robert Hedwell Jr., and Legislator Roy S. Diamond, on behalf of the Montgomery County Legislature, hereby proclaim Tuesday, November 21st, and 26th, an official date in Montgomery County to honor, thank, and recognize Ashley Lappy as the 2019 Caregiver of the Year. Thanks again.
Now as we get ready to go with the rest of the meeting, any of you folks that are here that came for the proclamations, if any of you want to leave, we have no objections of you leaving, so you don't need to stay, but if you want, you're more than welcome. Okay, under communications, we recently have sent a letter to Joseph Stahl from the Albany Division of the Thruway in regards to a situation in Canajoharie, and he's happened to be here this evening to brief us on what's going on down there, and at this moment I'm going to turn the meeting over to Matt and to Joe.
Sure, thank you. I'm just going to set the stage here briefly. and take it from there. You'll notice there's a resolution on your desk as well as the accompanying letter that was sent after a meeting we had end of last week. And first thing I need to bring your attention to is the Incinerator Road Bridge on the exit 29 site in Canajoharie has recently been red flagged by DOT twice. So the seriousness is building. The reason that it is such a serious issue is that without that bridge, the county trucks, the private haulers, and other municipalities cannot bring the sludge to that water and sewer treatment plant. And the mayor will always be the first to point out that at any big rain event, they're the ones that does not have anything going into the river, but that's besides the point. But the key point there is the village sustained the loss of revenue when Beechnut moved down the road. They are looking at potentially a hit of a couple $100,000 over the course of the year if they cannot access that road. So when the road was flagged, it immediately became an issue for the county, the village, Thruway Authority. The Thruway Authority owns the bridge, and it's the village's responsibility to maintain the bridge. The bridge is in not the best shape, so what we did was, actually the executive director, Matt Driscoll, as well as Joe and a few members of his team in the village, we all met in the village of Canajoharie offices to discuss the issue and how we could proceed and come up with some solutions. As you'll see in the letter, in the little diagram, and that one is the one in red, we discussed a temporary access road that could continue as a temporary solution that could provide access to that treatment plant so the village doesn't sustain essentially a closure of the plant without having that access. Now, the reason for the letter is because we need to respond to DOT, and the deadline is this Thursday. So we've created a temporary solution, and we're looking to the future to some more permanent solutions. But I would add to that the Thruway Authority has been absolutely fantastic in trying to help us with the Exit 29 site and the village of Canajoharie, as well as DOT. The day before, we had some folks from the state, including the State Emergency Management Director, DOT, and some others, toured some of the flood damage. And the next day, there was about 10 pieces of equipment in the village cleaning up the marina. And then they continued to work on Monday. So we've been very thankful to the help we've been getting, but unfortunately, we have a real problem with a bridge that is likely, potentially could be shut down. We're trying to stave that off. And this is the temporary solution that we proposed. And getting this letter to the Thruway was our first priority. And then in our discussions, once they received our letter, they asked if we could potentially take legislative action, because I informed them I can send all the letters that I want, but it is the legislature's responsibility to take action and grant a temporary license. And if you read the letter, you will see that our county attorney has, as well as the resolution, has put all the proper protections in place related to our ability to revoke the license and relative to cost building the road and quite frankly, any of the issues that could arise. Obviously, the big fear is, one of the issues that we still have to work out is what are we going to do about private haulage? If you have a private hauler go in there and it tips over, well, now all of a sudden you got the county with deep pockets, and we open ourselves up a little bit there. So we've kept it to municipal employees for now, but that would be something we have to work through down the line. But that's the general. Before Joe gets into some of the detail about why a resolution is necessary, are there any questions from the legislature as to how and why we got here? Okay, so I would turn it over to Joe, and I also thank him for being here on such short notice.
Thank you, everyone, for allowing us to push this forward in front of you tonight. It's kind of a critical situation for us right now, as well as the village of Canajoharie. We kind of developed a little bit of a partnership on Friday when we met. We have what we believe to be a cost-effective solution as a temporary measure at a minimum. As the site is developed further, there's plans to kind of create a road through this area anyway. whatever we do now can be absorbed in the future plan of the development of the site. The actual flags on the bridge are for structural defects, what they call a red flag, which means that we have a period of time we have to answer DOT with our plans. There are options within that. Essentially, the structure itself, the repairs to the structure are not feasible at this point in time due to access, due to the significant nature of the failure in some of the members that are there. So DOT has given us a deadline of this Thursday, the 28th, to respond to them. The response has to be what the authority as the bridge owner is going to do, as well as what the village of Montgomery as the maintenance, who has the maintenance responsibility for the bridge is going to do. Doesn't make a lot of sense to spend good money for that. The bridge is in tough shape. Its original construction, flag balance in 1953. The kind of unique part about this is we're actually reestablishing the road that was there in 1953. This road was actually here at one point in time. We're just kind of putting it back now after Beechnut has vacated the site. DOT requires us to give them a written plan on what we're going to do to address the issues on the bridge and the time frame in which to do that. We spoke to them again today, and they want that letter to them by essentially close of business tomorrow. We want to send it to them, detailing what we're going to do. They have a very narrow, short window in which they're going to allow us to do any work. So really what we want to try to do is get this resolution in front of you to them, get your approval for this resolution so that we can move forward in making this access road that's limited at this point, but at least an access road so that the village can still maintain and continue their operations of the plant. Is there any particular questions that I can help answer?
Where's the funding gonna come from to build this road?
The road, there already is a gate infrastructure there to what would be the west of our interchange exit ramp. That leads into the Beechnut property itself. We have to do some testing of the slab of the warehouse floor, but based on the work that happened there to take down the building and remove the debris, we believe the warehouse floor can more than sustain the load that would be placed on by any truck going across it.
So you just plan on going over top of not creating, not taking away any of that structure, but using the slab basically as a temporary road?
The slab is a temporary road.
Thank you.
Elevations are, I think there's about a 6-inch change in elevation in what would be to the northwest corner of the slab. But we'll come in, the authorities agreed to come in, and there's some material there, we'll come in, we'll take care of it, move out of the way, so that access can be had through the area, and we'll deal with that elevation change in there temporarily right now. And come spring, when I can get some blacktop in, we'll pave a little ramp off onto the slab.
Yeah, and most of it right now would be just some striping, and there's a little section that, as he indicated, would require some investigation, some work. But we do feel confident that we can get there quickly to keep, in the case that, we don't know what DOT is going to say based on our response. But this allows us to put a solution on the table that then will be explored further. And you'll see in the resolution, it grants me some authority and some flexibility in that process moving forward. But at least, we have your authority to have a limited access license to allow, because I think the county's portion of the village's revenue is over $100,000 alone. So that could, even if it was just that at this point, that helps with the burden, so to speak. But we don't think we're going to have to do a ton of work in the immediate future. But what this has done is it's got us starting to think a little bit more, give us a little more clarity about where we're going to go in the future. And if you noted in the letter, some of the things that have been ongoing, but this has accelerated the discussion with the Thruway Authority is some property that could potentially be deeded over. Thruway has expressed a willingness to potentially, if we get there, remove the bridge and really be a partner with us on the entrance off the Thruway, because Thruway's going to be tollless. So having a nice welcoming, off the Thruway like, instead of that vision of running a road right through and putting a new bridge in there, given this situation, it looks likely that what essentially we're gonna do is restore the 1950 road that goes through and kind of hugs the thruway and as it heads towards the sewer plant. So, that out of a difficult situation has come some positives as well.
Any other questions?
Have you addressed stormwater? You got a level slab you're going across now, so that's the only question I think I would have.
Yeah, we've talked with Lero, the engineers that we've hired for the site, they've begun to look at it. That's gonna be part of that extra follow-up, just to make sure that we don't have any issues there. But the initial thought was that we're not gonna have any issues, but before anything is done, that's gonna have to be shored up and be sure. But, so we haven't, literally, the meeting was last week, this is something that just really came up very quickly. We put this plan together and we still have to vet it out. But should that stuff fall into place, then.
Being that you have a turn on top of a level slab, that could be, I like your idea, I just wonder if you ought to put a little pavement over something, so it'll have something to grip to going around the corner.
We may have
To get a
to,
contour.
right, we may have to as we progress a little further. Obviously, this time of year, that's a challenge.
Because I think the slab will carry the weight.
Yeah.
A factor, it's gonna be 6, 8
You're a very keen observation. That turn area is the area that's gonna require some work. Basically, the two straight shots are good to go for the most part.
The plant's closed in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And that's one of the struggles that we're fighting against right now.
Yeah, I think that'd be an easy fix.
But this would allow us to have a plan to the thruway that has the proper authority, proper authority has been given by the legislature and not, me just sending a letter, which was our conversation earlier today. And I said, well, I'm not sure, it's an add-on, can we do it in December? And Joey kind of said, I'd be happy to come tonight, so I said, okay, let's put it out there, and if it goes, it goes, if not, we'll come back in December with more information.
Maybe something like the Katie Company treatment, you put the hot tar down and put the stone on it, probably all you need.
Those are all things that we have to investigate, we have to find out what is our best solution.
They were gonna talk about doing, drilling some holes and that kind of stuff.
That's a good solution.
Oh, the nice thing is it's been from the thruway, all hands on deck. Not only did we have Joe, who's in charge of the Albany region, but the executive director was here himself as well, participated in the meeting, been following up with text messages. So I imagine whatever resources are necessary are going to be passed along.
How long does this need to be in place? A couple of years?
That would depend on the development of the site, and I think I'd be lying if I told you a specific answer, but I would say, one of our concerns, certainly Megan, Ken, and I talking, is how temporary is this road going to be? And then that's when the discussion started leading to, well, is it viable to put a new $2 million bridge over this creek? And as we've started to think, okay, well, maybe our hand has been forced and access will be provided on the eastern side, and maybe no bridge is part of our future. That's why we included some of the things we did in the letter to the Thruway Authority about a walking bridge, which, we certainly want to do to have some access across. But, that is our goal, is to make sure that, this is a temporary solution as we look towards a permanent. Now, if you think about the site and if you look at the image, essentially what you would create here, if this became a permanent road, is you'd have that piece that's north or south of the river, or south of the road, that would really become the site that we would market. The butt end, so to speak, that runs near the corner, likely, that's might have to be stormwater management, things of that nature. That's what our gut instinct is. But this would really define how we're going to market the site in the future, and really, inside of that red diagram is really where next we're going to market. Now, we have ongoing with the 3 buildings that are staying up with a potential tenant. You have that site, and then the 1-acre lot, working on marketing and getting tenants in there while the western side is being cleaned up. So, we've been wrapping our head around it, but we want to ensure this is a temporary issue that we don't let go for a long time. And this is something we're gonna be talking about for the next couple of months, because, the village is gonna wanna keep continuing to accept private haulers and things of that nature. We're gonna have more discussions based on what DOT happens on Thursday, so this is gonna be an ongoing issue that will give you regular updates.
So the whole time that it's temporary, it's just gonna be for municipal use, or is it going to?
That's the only thing I felt comfortable authorizing at this point. And if we, if we have to have a discussion about letting private haulers in there, but then we're talking about having a gate system, having it locked, having, agreements in place, liability protection, certificate of insurance, and right now, the big key was getting the response to the throughway Thursday, or getting the response into DOT by Thursday. And I felt comfortable in talking with Megan enough to say, hey, yeah, we could do municipalities. And that might be municipal agreements down the road and things like that, where they're temporary, but at any moment, it doesn't look like it's going well. We have in your resolution the right to revoke it at any time, which gives us that protection. But I did not feel comfortable at this point saying, yeah, sure, we'll let private haulers go in there without a real plan in place for how it's gonna work. Now, the village is amenable to a gate system, and, they run a good operation down there. But the county, I'm not comfortable going there yet. Certainly I'm not. I know Megan wasn't either. But I do see a path where we could potentially get there, but we got a lot of I's to dot and T's to cross before we get there.
Anything else? Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you.
Need a motion to approve the minutes for the month of October and November for all committees. Motion by legislator Peck, second. Legislator Wilson, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? You want to say, Sheriff?
Yes.
I need a motion to acceptance of the budgetary transfers for November 2019 and the aggregate budgeted transfers for November 2019. Motion? Motion by legislator Diamond, second.
I'll say.
Second by legislator Wilson. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Yes.
Acceptance of the procurement record for 2019, October. Motion? Legislator Pep, second. Legislator Diamond, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Yes.
No old business?
Chairman, before we go into resolutions, under communications, I just wanted, with Greg being here, you all received the email from me. Greg has set up a tour for the legislature on Friday, December 6th at 3 o'clock. A couple of you have indicated that you would not be able to attend, and while you were here, I just wanted to kind of get an idea if we should change the date. Like, who will be able to go that day? It's December 6th at 3 o'clock. Can we talk about maybe a different date? Because I know the chairman is not gonna be able to come.
I'll be out of town as well.
And I think, Matt, you indicated you weren't gonna be available that day?
December 6th, to Friday. Yes, I do have a conflict that day.
Okay.
Share, why don't we coordinate?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I need a motion to amend the agenda to add resolutions 294 and 295. Motion by legislator Pep, second by legislator Patel. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Yes.
Resolution 267, resolution authorizing the county treasurer to distribute mortgage tax money. Sponsors were Kelly and Wilson. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Yes.
Resolution 268, Resolution amending the 2019 operating budget. Sponsors were Wilson and Diamond. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 269, resolution amending the 2019 operating budget. Sponsors were Sweet and Kelly. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 270, resolution approving re-levy of delinquent school taxes, village taxes, water rents, and sewer taxes. Sponsors were Sweet and Kelly. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 271, resolution approving the abstract of audited claims. Sponsors were Kelly and Wilson. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 272, resolution amending the 2019 operating budget. Sponsors were Diamond and Pep. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 273, resolution amending the 2019 operating budget, County Road Fund. Sponsors were Diamond and Kelly. Discussion. Yes.
I think we looked at these two positions there. Are they in the 2020 budget? If you're on resolution 273?
Yes.
I
think we looked at it.
Yeah, I believe so, but they're also, and I've been working with Sean on, any changes that we've made for the next budget that aren't in there are gonna come up in December. So we'll double check on that, and if it's not, that'll be an adjustment as well.
Like these two positions. Thank you, Chair.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 274, resolution adopting a new commercial and residential operating and maintenance rate structure for the Montgomery County Sanitary District Number 1. Sponsors were Wilson and Sweet. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 275, resolution authorizing the county executive to execute a letter agreement on the order of consent between the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation to the Montgomery County Sanitary District Number 1. Sponsors were Diamond and Pep. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 276, resolution to transfer funds to allow for payment of material, bike path paving 2019. Sponsors were Kelly and Diamond. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 277, resolution authorizing application for I Love New York Tourism Promotion Matching Grant Funds. Sponsors were Kelly and Pep. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 278, resolution supporting Save America's Treasures grant application prepared by the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation, Schoharie Aqueduct Rehabilitation Project. Sponsors were Kelly and Sweet. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 279, resolution authorizing the county executive to sign a New York State Indigent Legal Services Grant Contract Distribution 8. Sponsors were Sweet and Pep. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 280, resolution authorizing the county executive to sign contracts agreement with New York State Prosecutors Training Institute Incorporated. Sponsors were Pep and Sweet. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 281, resolution amending budget with forfeiture monies. Sponsors were Pep and Sweet. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 282, resolution amending the 2019 operating budgets. Sponsors were Sweet and Wilson. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 283, resolution authorizing the county executive to sign agreement for Spectrum Jail construction. Sponsors were Sweet and Diamond. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 284, resolution amending the 2019 operating budget, equipment. Sponsors were Pep and Wilson. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 285, resolution adopting introductory law E, a local law establishing a vehicle fee. Sponsors were Sweet and Pep. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 286, resolution authorizing the Montgomery County and the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office to enter into a public safety mutual aid agreement with the Village of St. Johnsville, the Village of Fort Plain, the Village of Canajoharie, the City of Amsterdam, and all of their police departments. Sponsors were Sweet and Wilson. Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 287, a resolution imploring the state of New York to immediately amend or delay implementation of bail and discovery reform laws that will endanger the people of New York and reverse decades of bipartisan progress in reducing crime. Sponsors were Pep and Kelly. Discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
No, fine.
I just wanted to share with you, discuss what, you were at the meeting last week.
Yeah, my apologies for last week with the forum at the college. So this resolution is one that's been passed throughout the state from the New York State Sheriff's Association. And my understanding from them is about 40 counties have passed it. It's basically just asking county governments to let their state legislative representatives understand and know that law enforcement, the district attorney's office, and even the court systems are concerned about the radical changes that, although we recognize change may be necessary, that these have gone too far, and there will be some unfunded mandates causing, some serious concerns about staffing levels and how we're going to manage some of the things that are written into the legislation. So it was just a resolution that we got as a copy from one of the counties. Warren County is where we pulled this one from, and just shared it up in hopes that you would consider passing it to help share our message, that we need to sit down at the table and look at this and how it's going to affect us on each and every day.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. This legislation, the legislation that is being opposed here by this resolution is far more complex than these whereases contained here would let on. The legislation was really addressed to solve an injustice whereby people who cannot afford bail are serving time in jail. And I think the sheriff can also attest to the number of men and women in jail right now just waiting for trial, and they're simply there because they cannot afford bail. And there's something wrong with that, and I'm glad that that's addressed. The argument about whether or not the legislation goes too far is a common argument put forth by people who didn't support the change to begin with. It's a way of off-putting the notion in its entirety by chipping away at it, saying it goes too far. I understand also that there is an incremental cost here to the county, and that might be one reason why I could vote for this, but not on balance. I think when the legislature puts their names on resolutions meant to direct other levels of government as to what laws they should and shouldn't vote for and support and not support, I'm generally opposed to that just out of principle. I mean, I like when they do their work and we do ours, but this affects us, and so I understand the resolution. However, if this resolution was really important,
to the members of this body, then we would write our own resolution in opposition to the legislation that's been passed. It's a pretty serious thing, and we ought not treat it with the same casualness as someone might show when they're buying cookies because a Girl Scout rang their doorbell. Just by example, there are 27 congressional districts in New York State. Can anyone here tell me why one congresswoman was chosen here to be copied on this resolution and all the others excluded? Why was she chosen? Does anyone know? Is anyone aware of that? No? So that's the kind of casualness that I'm talking about with respect to something like this. I have a hard time putting my name on this, and I will not vote for it.
Any other discussion?
Chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
I agree with Legislator Jesse, and, in any legislation where the county's telling the state what to do is something I'm not in favor of. And I think a lot of the hyperbolic statements here are just kind of like an anti-Como thing. So this is something I'm not going to support.
Anybody else?
I'd like to propose an amendment that we delete Congresswoman Elise Stefanik's name and insert the two congressional representatives from our district, Antonio Delgado and Congressman Paul.
Go a second. Second.
Hold on, second.
Legislator Sweet. Discussion?
I just want to mention that I believe that she was chosen because that encompasses her district.
I'm sorry.
I believe she was chosen because where we pulled the resolution from, it encompasses her district. And then secondly, there's been a letter sent on behalf of numerous Congress people within the state recently that I have in my possession now as well. None of them from our county, but I believe there's 8 Congress districts signed by Congress officials sent to the governor's office.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
it may be inappropriate for me to, I don't want to debate the sheriff here, but the selection of the word, why she was chosen, she wasn't chosen. This was how this resolution was written up by another county and simply passed on to us. And that's exactly what I was referring to when I talked about the casualness with which we are reading this.
Yes.
I would just also say, it was in the Gazette today, I don't know if you saw it, that Tedesco and Santa Barbara are working on an updated version of the bill, and I think I briefly stated that's where the effort should be on the state, but not our part.
Any other discussion? So on the amendment, you want to do a roll call? You want to just go? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Amendment passed.
Back to the resolution. Any other discussion on the resolution as amended? All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Opposed?
Have to Jesse then.
Abstain?
Pass. Right?
Yeah. No, set, Cheryl?
Yes.
Resolution 288. Resolution rescheduling the December meeting of the Montgomery County Legislature. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstain. Resolution 289. Resolution authorizing the FMCC renovation project classroom, building, financial Technology Lab. Sponsors were PEP and Diamond. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 290, resolution authorizing advertising for bids for the FMCC Classroom Building Financial Technology Lab Project. Sponsors were Sweet and PEP. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 291, resolution authorizing the FMCC Campus Lab and Classroom Phase 3 project. Sponsors were Wilson and PEP. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 292, resolution authorizing advertising for bids for the FMCC Campus Lab and Classroom Phase 3 project. Sponsors were PEP and Diamond. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 293, resolution authorizing the transfer of ownership of the trolley car to Historical Amsterdam League. Sponsors were Pertel and PEP. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Abstained.
Pass.
Resolution 294, resolution authorizing the Montgomery County Executive to enter an agreement with First Light for internet, dark fiber, and PRI voice services. I need a sponsor.
I'll sponsor.
I'll second.
Patel and Wilson. Discussion. We have Dan in the back row. Dan, you've been here all night. Have anything to say?
Well, do you have questions, or do you want me to describe it?
Why don't you just give us a 10-cent version?
All right, well, we're basically just moving the majority of our internet and LAN services, plus some of our voice services. Well, we're proposing to do that with First Light Fiber, moving away from Frontier and Spectrum, although we still will be keeping some of those services. But First Light is offering really good deals right now with extremely fast fiber that will increase our internet speeds and our interconnectivity between our buildings, and just set us up for the next at least 5 to 10 years for future bandwidth. In order to do that, they have to build. They're in this building right now, but they have to build over to Park Street and then up to the sheriff's office. So that's why these contracts are all about a year out. It takes about that long. Lay all this fiber. So that's it. Go.
Probably why.
I guess my question, a couple questions. One, what's the difference between the cost in the future as opposed to, I realize we're getting different bandwidth and things like that, but what's the cost of that over what we currently have now, say annually?
It's about the same.
So it's zero. Good, good. My other question is, we often discuss the core capabilities of the annex building, and I guess I would question why we would put a hub there, or if we decide to do something in a business with that building, what is there associated cost that we can avoid by using this as the hub?
Well, it's the hub right now because that's where our main data center is. It's been there forever. It's grandfathered in. If we had to build a new one somewhere, it would be an extremely expensive cost. If for some reason we decided to move in 5, 6, 7 years, whatever, once these lines are all laid, there would be no additional cost to move to this building or the sheriff's office or anywhere out there.
Basically slice. What's the significance of, I know business keeping everything together in connectivity in all your areas. What's the significance of the jail being connected as opposed to being self-standing? I mean, they've got pretty good infrastructure there now.
Yeah, they do, but they still connect back to the county for for us all to be tied together. We have to be tied together one way or another. And with the dark fiber that First Light is proposing, it would literally be 10 times faster.
Okay.
Any other?
I see this as a 5-year agreement.
Yep.
So after the 5 years, let's say the price blows up out of it, do we have other options at that point to go?
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Yeah, right now, Frontier and Spectrum are options everywhere. First Light is new to the area, they're in this building, but they're not in the annex, they're not up in the sheriff's office. So once they do this build out in 5 years, we pretty much have 3 different vendors we can choose from.
So it wouldn't be something that their technology would lock you into their.
No.
Roy, you, I think you had a question.
More or less a comment. This is something that we've been trying to improve for 6 years, and I wanted to thank Dan for putting this together. I wholeheartedly support this. It's, I think, a big step to the future for us.
Thanks.
In the past, I'm sure Roy was talking about, DMV, we always had a problem with bandwidth. Will this correct that problem, or have we already corrected that problem?
Well, DMV is on a separate network, they're on a state network. I'm not really sure, we don't really have much to do with that. First Light is already in this building, so I'm not sure what the state uses for their internet.
So we'll have no effect on that.
But I think what you're describing, though, they're having internet issues in this building with those that are not on a state network, and that is because what runs under the railroad tracks is crap. And this is gonna solve that problem.
I think we even had a problem with the cash machine.
Yeah, even something as simple as printing something, it's gotta run, and then it'll come back, and you don't have a whole lot of bandwidth to.
Basically, yeah, DMV is separate, but county clerk is on, does connect back to the annex, and right now that line that runs between these two buildings is about, it's supposed to be about 50 megabits, but it's less than that. What we're proposing is dark fiber, which would be 1 to 10 gigabits with more, $100 more, for that. And we're also planning for the future for surveillance video, traffic to run over those lines, and for the new voice over IP phone system to run over those lines. So the big picture is to connect all of our buildings through fiber, and with the annex being the hub with the main internet connection, with backup connections here and there, where
Would make it easier for us to stream our meetings on the internet.
no. But there are other options for that.
But I would add that with Dan negotiating with First Light, he was able to build those installation costs into this plan, so then when we are done, we now have the infrastructure we need, and then we can let them compete as far as cost goes. That's, to me, the real win here, other than the technological improvements. In 5 years, then we open it up, and we have some competition, and we got the actual infrastructure that we just paid anything additional for compared to what we've been paying for the past few years.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Yes.
Resolution 295, resolution granting temporary revocable license to the Village of Canterbury. Sponsor? Sponsored by legislator Wilson, second by legislator Patel. Discussion. Legislator Diamond.
Sure. First, I wanted to thank Director Stahl for coming this evening and explaining everything to us. Joe's been around the thruway a long time. He's very knowledgeable in these areas. One of the things he's good at is coming up with solutions, workarounds that solve a problem. And this is a problem that we've had and have. And I wholeheartedly support this. Unfortunately, because of my outside activities agreement with the thruway, I have to abstain from anything having to do with the thruway, but I just wanted to add that.
Anybody else? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Abstain.
Yes.
Okay. Anything under other? Seeing none, motion to adjourn. Legislator Kelly, Legislator Pep, all in favor? Opposed? Abstained?